Mikel, a point, but I imagine the talking point was the equalizer. Was it a foul?
I haven't seen the action again, but that decision has been made. It's 2-2. We consider two very similar goals, and they are really good at what they do and the way they create the chaos and play the long balls and the flicks and the plays that they commit forward. We consider two similar goals, which is not good enough from ourselves. But it's true that the team showed an incredible resilience and courage to go back from that result, to score the equalizer, to score the second one that we were pushing. And even though at the end we conceded the goal, we have a massive chance as well at the end to win it. So I can only be...
Type of game, wasn't it? It wasn't perhaps the most pleasing on the eye. It was quite attritional. It was very stop-start. Did that hamper your team a bit?
I think it was 18 minutes, I didn't know. So that tells you the story of the game. But you have to play those games. Every team is going to try to play in their strengths. It's normal. We try to do the same. And even though the game was like this, I think we deserve to win it, and we are disappointed that we didn't get the 3 points.
That said, could this still be a good point come the end of the season if you are to go on and win this title?
Well, I don't know. At the moment, it feels like we lost 2 because it was so late, and then the big chance that we had at the end to win it. But it's what it is. We have to continue to improve, recognise what we've done in the last period, international break.
Draw, the best result for you?
Yeah, I will be watching it for sure, yeah.
Like a draw?
Let's see, that's not in my control.
They have had.
Yeah, definitely. And he's made some fantastic saves in the game as well. He even made a triple save. He gets cancelled out for offside, so apparently that doesn't count. But he's been making some fantastic saves. But I'd nearly said it's so disappointing. But when you look at the overall game, I think
fair result in the end.
Yeah, just about a fair result.
Just about. Look at the points from losing positions. Sunderland have amassed the most this season. They're a newly promoted side, but you wouldn't think it, would you, Gary?
Yeah, no, it's a great start, isn't it? And it's all about attitude. That when I look at that, I feel like, that's about attitude, and that's about not getting your head down in difficult moments when you go behind in games. So it's a great achievement and a great start for them. And again, they've done it tonight and earned themselves a point.
And you talk about attitude. Arsenal showed great attitude, as they have all season, because Saka, early in the second half, came out and equalised. Marino played his part as well in the goal. And we thought, right, they're off.
Yeah, it was a great reaction, like I said, in the second half. Look at Declan Rice, he's absolutely superb. I thought he was terrific all game today, winning the ball back with a high press. And then obviously Saka finishing it off in the near post. You just look at Declan Rice here, his attitude, his desire to go and win it and press. Lafy just kind of, he holds onto the ball too long. You see there from Roofs, he's putting his arms up in the air. He can see what's behind him, he can see the pressure coming. He's wanting the ball back to maybe then clear and go long. That's the only time I saw in the game up until this point that Sunderland took risk. I thought it was a risky passing to me.
Anyway. But no, it's
I'm looking for players to kind of, to do something special. And that was a real special goal. Yeah. That was a fantastic hit from Trossard.
And despite the fact it's 2-2, in the 94th minute, Arsenal still had a chance, didn't they? To win it very late on. What a story and what a turnaround this would have been.
It would have been, but it's an absolutely amazing block by the defender. But, and when it falls to, I think it's Marino, isn't it?
That's as good as a goal.
Yeah.
Centre-back's point.
That save there is decent.
Here we go, look, body on the line.
No.
And Dan Bollard was involved
him again.
in everything, wasn't he? Yeah. Honestly, obviously the goal, the finish was superb. He was involved for the first header for the goal, and obviously then at the end, a match-saving a challenge. So he had a terrific game as well.
So what do Arsenal learn from this? Of course, we can see the Premier League table there. They still have that healthy lead at the top, but I guess it would have been nice to have extended it a little bit more.
Yeah, of course it would, but it shows you that they still believe in what they're doing. This was a difficult game, especially when you looked at it first half. It looked difficult. Sunderland were well organised, and they knew exactly what they needed to do with Arsenal. Hit it long, play in Arsenal's half rather than trying to play out from the back. And like Gary said, when they did play out from the back, it cost them a goal. But Arsenal, they're in a good position.
And 10 on the bounce. Competitions has come to an end at the Stadium of Light thanks to Brian Brobbey's late equaliser. 90 plus 4 minutes on the clock. 3 goals conceded all season and 2 in one evening at the Stadium of Light. Granit Xhaka, the former Arsenal man, delighted to help steer his side to a point that takes them up to 3rd in the table. This is the Sunderland equaliser, Gary. Is it inevitable almost that Dan Ballard's in the mix again?
Yeah, interesting how he's up there again, isn't it? We spoke about having to find a way to create chances against Arsenal because they are a unique test. And to be fair to Sunderland, they've found a way. They've gone to Ballard twice. with balls into the box, and Arsenal have struggled to deal with the second phase.
Bit of Darren Bent about that finish, I think, as well, from Brian Brobbey. His first shot in the Premier League and his first goal.
It's almost one of those where, to be fair, the goalkeeper's made a decision for him, and it's a really, really nice finish.
What about this? Dan Ballard again, Darren, in the right place.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Calafiori probably should score himself. I mean, I think he gets too much on the header rather than really trying to go back across goalkeeper and low. But Dan Ballard there, as you said, they're putting his body on the line. I mean, he throws himself at it. I mean, it's close to giving away a penalty there, but it's a really, really good block. And the reaction, to be fair, from blocking, that tells you all about the Sunderland performance this evening.
Do you think an Arsenal fan, if there was one around, might reflect that it is actually not a bad point?
That is, I mean, Gary was talking about it earlier, and he's right, to be fair. Once it settles, because they'll be thinking 2-1 up, it should be all 3 points. But Sunderland's a tough.
With a good header, and I was at the right place.
Win the second one, and then a great touch and finish from big Dan Ballard. I'm sure he enjoyed that moment.
Finishing like a striker, and the first time he's done that with his feet, Darren, for 2 years.
Yes, a really, really good finish. I mean, what I like about it is the ball goes over his head, and he turns like he's an attacker. He senses that there might be something building behind him, but the first touch is brilliant, and it's just one of those, when you're that close, just smash it as hard as you can. I mean, you can quite clearly see here, it's a really good first touch. Little bit of swaz off the side of his foot, but when you're that close, it doesn't need to be a clean contact. He hits the target, and it goes in, and it's a really, really good finish.
What a story for Dan Ballard, who's enjoying the best period of his career right now, that is for sure. What have you made of Arsenal going forward, though?
Lack of ideas. I mean, and that was always the question around Arsenal, that if they weren't creating chances from set plays, could they find other ways to open teams up? And I think they've really struggled this first half. I think there's been a real lack of movement. There's been no patterns of play. And it almost feels like if they are going to get back into it, it's going to be a situation like that, where it goes into the box, there's a little bit of a fight ball, it pops down, and someone finishes it off. But from that range there, Saliba is good enough to hit the target. We've seen Dan Ballard do it at the other end. That's, in some respects, an easier finish.
How do you see it, Gary, from Arsenal's perspective?
I think their biggest test so far this season, second half. I think Sunderland are well-drilled, well set up. They've got the lead. Arsenal look like they're going to throw balls in the box, but Sunderland look well equipped to deal with that. So I think it's a big half-time and